Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be making a cute little tote bag, and we're using some grommets, and this is actually made out of one 12 by 12 double-sided sheet of pattern paper. Now I have another one that we were working on today. I used different grommets. I'm sorry, but today we just made this. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be making a cute little tote bag. This can be used for an Easter basket or a gift basket as well. It's made out of one 12 by 12 pattern sheet of paper, and in this case we have pattern on one side and a pattern on the other. I use 4 grommets in order to hold the handles on, but you could use something else. You could use buttons. And as I said, this is one sheet of paper. It's absolutely amazing. Now, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Here we are in Design Space, and we're going to pick a file that you're going to upload from my resource library called Paper Tote with Handle Markers. And this is what it looks like. And we'll just upload that. I've already got it uploaded. Now there's a few changes you're going to have to make when you get this file uploaded. First of all, you'll find 4 circles. Now I've just changed those to cut files just to make sure they're set to cut. You go over to your layers panel and set those ones to cut. Now the other thing you need to do on the outside lines, you're going to find 2 straight lines on the very outside. You're going to change both of those to score lines. On the interior, you want this line down the center, this line down the center, this whole rectangle here, all 4 of those lines need to be set to score lines. Now this project is set to cut out on one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. One thing I must warn you about, when you pick your paper, if you have a pattern that only faces one way, then you're going to have it upside down on one side and the right way up on the other side. And that's probably not what you want. So try and pick a design that it doesn't matter which way the paper goes, and then the design will look really good. Now that is all there is to making the change in Design Space. Make sure that you have selected everything. Come down here and select Attach. Make sure you save your project up here, and then we're just going to click on Make It. This is really simple. Now the reason I want you to take a look at this mat is you'll see that these score lines come down to the 11.5 inch mark and this one at the 1/2 inch mark. Well, that's perfect, because what we want is the edge piece all the way over to the first cut here is going to be a handle, and the same on the other side. So we've made this template so that you will get a handle out of it. Now when it does its cut, it's not going to cut all the way to the edge on both pieces. You are going to hand cut this little tiny piece on all 4 edges. Now that's all there is to this. So we're going to click on Continue. Now I'm going to use a 2-sided pattern paper, and it doesn't matter which way it goes. Once I said before, I have a pattern that can go upside down or right side up. Now I'm going to use a medium cardstock, and I know I have to put into my scoring wheel, and once I'm finished with the scoring wheel, it will do a cut. And once you've done all of that, we will put it all together. Here I am with the tote bag. Now this is just a sample of what I'd put together before. Nice pattern paper on the inside, it's patterned on the inside. These are the 2 handles, and I attach the handles with tiny grommets. Now these are a perfect way to do it. If you don't have any, you can always put in buttons and thread them through. This is a beautiful looking little tote. Now we're going to take the sheet that we had already cut, and I want to show you a couple of little things that you need to do in order to get there. Now we had it cut at the bottom, and remember at the sides I had told you need to cut the edges because it won't cut all the way through to where you want it to go. So you're actually going to take your scissors and you're going to cut off those bottom pieces. There's one piece here. You're going to come across the same thing at the top where it doesn't cut right through. Just take that top piece off. Just take your scissors and snip that away. You can straighten that out in a little bit. These are going to be your handles. I can get rid of my scrap paper. Now when I'm taking this apart, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this strip off, and this is where you can see where you need to get this pretty straight, because that's going to be your handle. So I'll just trim it off pretty straight. It's still crooked. That is one handle. I'm going to do the same thing. The other handle is on the other side. Just make it pretty straight. This is a fairly easy project, so it's not that bad to put together. Now, I've added the holes here for the bag, but I didn't add them here because I wasn't able to do that with the way that the Cricut cuts. So I'll put those handles aside for now. Now I want to remove the rest of the tote. Now it all comes from one sheet of paper, so this is a really fun project to work on. Just want to be very careful when I lift this. It's a pretty strong mat. I don't want to rip it in any way. Pull it from this side as well. I'm actually going to flip it over and pull the mat away from the project. That's way it won't bend. And then I'll put my mat away. Now this is going to be the inside. Obviously I don't want that on the outside, but I want this as the outside of my project. Now I have 4 little holes here. Those will be for the grommets. Now it's a pretty simple process when we fold this together. The first thing you want to do is put the handles with the grommets on. When I did this initial one, I tried to put them on later. It was next to impossible because I had to use a hammer to push them in. So that's the very first thing we're going to do. Let me just set this aside. Let's take a look at these handles. There is a score line down the middle, and it's going to be pretty well accurate. And we're going to score that and just push it over for the handle. It's a stiffer paper than the other one I had used. Don't worry if it doesn't match it exactly. Try and get as close on that score line as possible. Do the same with the next one. I don't particularly want the other handles out, but it might look kind of cute if you put these handles, if you turned them around and that was the handle. I'm going to make them all the same. Now here lies the issue. As you don't have the holes here on either end of these, you're going to have to use a 1-hole punch. And with that 1-hole punch, you are going to be able to make the hole that you really want. So I just have a 1-hole punch here. I'm going to try and make those about equal. I'm going to put it about 1/2 inch down, if you can see that, about 1/2 inch, and try and get it as much to the center as possible. That looks pretty good. I'm going to do the same with this one, right down the center. Measure it out. About 1/2 inch. Sure, it looks about right. Looks about perfect. And want to make sure we're into the center as much as possible. And that's all it will take for the handles. I'll just put my hole punch away, out of the way. Now, next part is, of course, you want to be able to secure these. I'm going to secure them this way, and you want the handle to fold and come over this way for the next one. So you can see how these bow, but since it's going to go that way, I want to make sure this part goes to the inside so it looks a lot better. We're just going to add some grommets. I just happen to have a little package, and I have hearts as one, and I think I'll use those in this one. Just spill those out. So all we need to do now is I add my heart. Put those on the inside. Put my heart here.
I'll push it through on this side, and then there's room to put the little extra piece here. And push that on the inside, and then I've got to hammer it together. And I'm going to be able to do that with one of these. And then I'm going to use my instrument here to be able to flatten it. And I think I'm going to use my little dowel, and then I'm going to hammer it in place. I'll put all 4 of these together and we'll be right back. Okay, I have attached the handles now and put in the grommets so that will be able to use this a little later. If I tried to put these on later, it was just really a hassle. So now what I want to do is put the rest of this together. Now these little flaps have score lines, and I'm just going to push them into the center. I'll give them a little bit of a burnish. That's about all I need. We're going to be using those to attach up inside, as you see this particular one a little later. So put that one aside. So now we have these 2 pieces that are going to go into the center. I know this is a little hard to see, but what we're going to do is we're going to bring up one piece to the edge of this. So we're going to do this on both sides. So it's only going to go part way up, so all I need to do is apply my tape here, and the same thing on the other side. So whatever side I decide to bring up, that's the side that's going to get the tape. So all I want to do is add a little piece of tape here. Pardon me, I've got glue everywhere. So the idea behind this is so that I can bring this one up. I want to get it as close to that edge as I can. And there we go. And then of course we'll be adding some more to come along this side. So we're going to do the same on the next side, and I'll be right back and we'll put the rest of it together. Okay, this part of the purse, we put the handles on with the grommets. I've taken these pieces of paper here and I've glued this edge to it, and once that was glued in, I could then stick these pieces as well. I just simply use this tape. Once I have it sitting here, then I can push on the score line to have it sit up a little more. It looks pretty good. Now there is another score line here, and we're going to score that now. You don't want it to fold too much, so we'll just give it a little nudge here. You can see where the score line is. Now the next part of this is we're going to bring this up, and then we're going to glue this in place on this side, and we're going to do the same with the other one, and then our tote is pretty well complete. Right now I'm going to use the tape. I find that much easier. And you can apply glue if you wish. Actually, what I'll do instead of the tape, I'll show you how to apply the glue with this, because you're going to need a bigger surface for the glue. Now the tote bag is pretty well ready to go. We have the pieces that come up the inside, so things won't really fall out. You may want to, once glue is dry, squish it together a little more, just like I did with this one. Give it some edges like this. You could add a clasp to it, but generally this one is pretty well ready to go. Just going to give a little squish on the side here. And there we have it. Glue's not quite dry yet, and there we have it. We have this wonderful tote, and it only took one sheet of 12 by 12 paper in order to make this. The only thing we added were glue, scissors, and a couple of grommets. Now you could add some other decoration in it as well. You can add a little clasp to it, or you can fill it with shredded paper and make it an Easter basket. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that project. And until next time, happy crafting.
Well, I hope you had a lot of fun making these tote bags. Putting the grommets on made it actually easier for the handles to stay on. I've got a couple of them that we've made here. These are absolutely adorable. You can use them for baskets for all occasions. You could use it for Easter or just as a gift basket for a birthday. Anyways, I hope you really enjoyed making these. And just before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And happy crafting!